A new warning tonight if you are a pet owner. More dogs are getting sick across the country, and doctors still don't know what's causing it. WECT's Ava Brengord talked with a veterinarian. Is this similar to anything else they've seen, Ava?
Well, John, doctors say it starts off like kennel cough, but it's highly contagious and potentially deadly. And vets say dog owners need to pay attention.
Honey.
Elise Keel brings her dog Honey to the dog park all the time.
You're my good girl.
Despite the threat of a quickly spreading dog illness.
I'm not entirely too worried about it.
While the mysterious illness isn't in North Carolina right now, veterinarians say you can't ignore it. It's like kennel cough, but worse. It doesn't respond to medicine, it's highly contagious, and can linger for up to 3 months, even longer. That's why veterinarian Cassie Mitlitsky says dog owners should keep their pups away from the dog park, social environments, or boarding facilities right now.
Most respiratory pathogens that we see are spread by close contact, sharing water bowls, playing with animals that they aren't normally in an environment with.
Mitlitsky says at the very least, get your dog vaccinated, something Keel is well aware of.
I mean, with dogs, you always do what you can to protect them. You get rabies vaccines, you get puppy vaccines and everything. There's only so much you can do.
Veterinarians say normal medications don't work for treatment in dogs for this illness, and that's why they're calling it a mystery illness. And John Mitlitsky says if you are going to have your dog around other dogs, try to make sure they're all vaccinated. And if you notice anything wrong, call your veterinarian immediately.
Yep, good advice. Got to keep the family pet safe. All right, Ava, thanks. We have new